Hello everyone, welcome to Ancient Wonders with Mini Stories. Today we are diving deep into the world of ancient Egypt. Have you ever wondered how Egyptians turned their dead into mummies? Well, you're in the right place. We're talking about a civilization that lived thousands of years ago, yet they understood chemistry, biology, and physics in ways that allowed them to preserve bodies, sometimes for millennia. We'll learn about the 3 ways of mummifying bodies, as told by the famous Greek historian Herodotus. Let's get started. The ancient Egyptians were obsessed with the afterlife. They believed that death was just a transition, a doorway to another existence. For the pharaohs and the ultra-wealthy, only the best would do. And that brings us to the first method of mummification, what I like to call the luxury treatment. Now picture this, you're an embalmer in ancient Egypt. You've got your tools laid out, and in walks a recently departed pharaoh. Your first task? Brain removal. The ancient Egyptians saw it as, well, kinda useless in the afterlife. So, they'd take a hooked instrument, insert it through the nostril, and gently remove the brain. Next up, the internal organs. The Egyptians believed that the heart was the center of being, vital for the afterlife, so that stayed put. But the lungs, liver, stomach, intestines, those were carefully removed through an incision in the abdomen. These organs were preserved separately in special jars called canopic jars. Now, with the body prepped, it was time for a salt bath. Not your average table salt, mind you. We're talking about natron, a naturally occurring salt found in abundance in Egypt. The body was completely covered in natron and left to dry for a whopping 40 days. By removing all the water from the body, natron effectively put a stop to decomposition. After the 40-day salt spa treatment, the body, now nice and dry, was washed and prepped for the final touches. The body was anointed with fragrant oils, and then came the wrapping. We're talking about layers upon layers of fine linen bandages, meticulously applied. Finally, the wrapped mummy was placed inside a coffin, often not just one, but a series of coffins nested within each other, each more ornate than the last. The final resting place? A grand tomb filled with treasures and provisions for the afterlife. Not everyone in ancient Egypt was a pharaoh or a wealthy noble. For the average middle-class family, the luxury treatment was simply out of reach. But they still craved a decent afterlife for their loved ones. This is where our second method comes in, the one I call the middle-class method. So, no brain removal this time. Instead of extracting the brain, they injected cedar oil into the body through the nose. This oil helped to dissolve the brain, effectively neutralizing it without the need for extraction. Now remember those internal organs? The ones carefully removed in the luxury treatment? Well, in the middle-class method, they stayed put. Instead of extraction, the embalmers would inject a different kind of oil into the abdomen. This oil had a unique property. It could liquefy the internal organs. Once the oil had worked its magic, the body was placed in natron for a 20-day soak. After the natron had done its job, drawing out all the moisture, it was time to drain the oil and whatever was left of the internal organs. While not as visually impressive, the middle-class method still achieved the main goal, preserving the body for the afterlife. It's a testament to the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians, finding ways to make mummification accessible to a wider range of people. Now let's talk about the third method of mummification, the one designed for the everyday Egyptian. The farmers, the laborers, the ones who couldn't afford the fancy oils and elaborate rituals. This one is all about simplicity and practicality, what I like to call the simple way. Forget the brain removal, the organ extraction, the fancy oils. In the simple way, it was all about letting nature lend a helping hand. The body was washed, prepped, and then covered, once again, in our good friend, natron. But here's the twist. Instead of a luxurious salt bath, the body was simply laid out in the hot, dry desert sand. The ancient Egyptians understood that the desert itself was a giant, natural dehydrator. The scorching sun and arid winds acted like a giant oven, baking out all the moisture from the body, effectively halting decomposition. After about a week or so under the desert sun, the body, now thoroughly dried and preserved, was retrieved. There were no fragrant oils, no intricate wrappings. The body was simply wrapped in basic cloth, sometimes just old linen scraps, and laid to rest. No grand tombs, no elaborate sarcophagi. The simple way often meant a simple burial in the desert sands, the very same sands that had played such a crucial role in the preservation process. The hot, dry climate of Egypt, combined with the natural preserving power of natron, ensured that even with minimal intervention, bodies could be preserved for a surprisingly long time. So there you have it, the 3 ways of mummifying bodies, according to Herodotus. The luxury way for royals, the middle way for families, and the simple way for the poor. Each method, a testament to the Egyptians' understanding of biology, chemistry, and their unwavering belief in a life beyond death. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of ancient Egyptian mummification, don't forget to like and subscribe for more cool facts about ancient history. See you next time on Ancient Wonders with your channel name. Bye-bye!